What is up, guys? I do realize that it's been over a week since my last video. I had gotten used to the one episode a week thing for Steven, so these episodes really caught me off guard, like one after the other daily, so I apologize that I haven't made a video yet. So yeah, in this video I'm going to cover like basically all the episodes. There's not that much to talk about, so it'll be okay. So yeah, let's kick it off with it. Uh-huh. Okay. So yeah, the production team just told me that we're gonna have to keep the graphics and pictures around to a minimum. I'm not gonna bring up a picture unless it's vital to the point I'm making at the moment. And obviously, by production team, I mean the people over there that don't exist. Okay, so first, keeping it together. So yeah, this episode was pretty cool. I mean, we finally caught up to Peridot. Seems that she was hanging out at the kindergarten, and I don't know why they didn't check there earlier, because like knowing what Peridot's intentions are, I mean that's pretty much where she would go first. Sadly, she did get away again, so the chase continues. I love how imaginative the writers and the character designers for this show are. I mean, like to implement uh, Peridot's fingers as a sort of helicopter kind of weird thing that she was doing. It was hilarious. It reminded me of Inspector Gadget with the whole hat that turns into a helicopter. So the episode started off pretty goofy, you know. I mean, even though they finally caught up to one of the main antagonists, it was all pretty lighthearted. But then they went down to what seemed to be Peridot's base at the kindergarten, and they noticed that the injectors hadn't been meddled with. I mean, it would seem that her motive was not to start up the injectors again and start extracting gems from the Earth's resources. Rather than trying to turn on the injectors, it seems she was carrying on some very awful experiments with shards from broken gems. It would seem she took pieces of fallen gems and combined them into these horrible things like clusters of legs and arms. It was one of the creepiest moments that we've had on this show thus far. Probably the creepiest. Ever since the prison break episode where we finally found out that Garnet was in fact a fusion, and we met Ruby and Sapphire. Garnet's been more of an emotional character. She's opened up to everybody, especially Steven. But this episode took it a little further. We had never seen Garnet break down so badly as she did in this episode. I mean, when confronted with the fusions that Peridot was making as part of her experiments, she broke down, started crying, couldn't even fight back. Steven was left to do a lot of the actual fighting in this episode rather than Garnet, as would be the norm. Obviously, it's a very sensitive topic, which is why she broke down, seeing as how she perceives fusion to be this ritual that two gems do when they really love each other. Obviously, these are euphemisms for other things, so you can figure out what they are. So, what does this mean for the show? I guess since Peridot's not trying to start up the injectors again, we probably won't see the threat of new gems being brought up from the Earth's resources. Uh, Rather, we will probably, because of these experiments that Peridot was making, I actually don't think that this will turn out to be a bad thing. I mean, obviously, it's horrifying that she was taking the pieces of fallen gems and turning them into these monsters, and but ultimately, I think that whatever Peridot was doing with the pieces of the gems eventually will be a means to reconstruct all the gems that had been destroyed. Um, Garnet goes as far as saying that they're all here. That this is where they've been all this time, in reference to the gems pieces. We know that Garnet has a lot of fallen gem pieces back at the temple, but they couldn't reconstruct the gems because ultimately they were missing pieces, and an incomplete gem will not function properly. But with all these new pieces, I'm guessing that they can bring back to life a lot of other gems that they hadn't seen in a while, probably thousands of years. But I think that if they can revive these gems, they will be an asset in the struggle against Jasper, Peridot, and whatever legions Yellow Diamond has back on Homeworld. You might have noticed that I completely skipped Rising Tides and Crashing Skies. I didn't forget about it. It's just that I don't feel it contributes to the overarching plot in Steven Universe. That's why I'm not covering it. But it was a pretty good episode, I think. I mean, it was not filler per se. It just doesn't really add to the plot. But overall, it was really funny. We got some character development for Ronaldo, but I'm not gonna really go into any detail. Moving on to the next episode, we need to talk. Now, I can't even hold back this smile because this was the best episode out of the three. I mean, when you see that Greg is gonna tell Steven one of his old Rose Quartz stories, strap on, guys, because this is gonna be awesome. So, yeah, in the beginning of the episode, Steven and Connie start dancing in front of Greg. And without even noticing, they kind of fused involuntarily, and Greg up until this point didn't know that Steven could fuse with a human. Wow. So yeah, basically these guys' little stunt triggers Greg to want to tell that backstory. Um, so we go back to this moment where Greg is trying to like form a band with the crystal gems, and it was working out pretty damn cool. I mean, we get a lot of musical numbers in Steven Universe, but I really like this one. I love it when Greg gets his flashbacks and sings. Now, obviously, this is at a point in time where Greg and Rose weren't as close. I mean, they were obviously into each other, but Pearl was still like, oh, whatever. They'll never be together. I don't give a shit. Anyhow, she sets out to pull this little stunt to make Greg feel jealous and pushed aside. Halfway through the recording of the music video, she decides to fuse with Rose Quartz, and holy shit, bro. I mean, for a while I've been hoping to get a glimpse of Garnet and Pearl's fusion, but damn, nothing would have prepared me for a Rose Quartz fusion. I did not expect that at all. So the gems explain the concept of fusion for the first time to Greg, and he sets out to practice so that he could fuse with Rose. So yeah, ultimately, Greg tries to fuse with Rose, and Rose didn't know that he was trying to fuse with her, but eventually, when he does say that he wanted to fuse with her, she laughs because this is clearly not possible. And this episode, overall, for the overarching plot, what it basically says, it's pretty much confirmed that pure humans and pure crystal gems cannot fuse. Then the episode got really emotional. I mean, Rose, being the immortal being that she is, she struggled little to comprehend Greg's feelings. Meanwhile, Greg is here pouring his heart out, and then she does snap out of it and realize, holy shit, this guy is really going through something important in this moment, so I better pay attention. Then in the background, Pearl is all like, bitch! Ultimately, she finally realizes that Greg and Rose are gonna stay together and that she's no longer part of the equation, which really sad, but I mean, it had to happen eventually. So yeah, beautiful episode. We saw a fusion that we're probably never gonna see again, and human crystal gem fusion confirmed to be implausible. Now, final episode. From the title, I thought it was gonna be a pretty chill episode, but yeah, it was a Malachite episode in the end, and first half of the episode is pretty irrelevant. Basically, Steven trying to convince Garnet to separate into Sapphire and Ruby, and I'm dying to get some Sapphire and Ruby. Jesus. So Steven has these nightmares at first, where he's seeing Malachite. And he first had a really brief one where he saw Lapis Lazuli, and then he woke up and tried to go back to sleep. Um, Funny part of the episode, it seems that when Pearl actually figures out how to dream, she projects it out through her forehead gem. And everybody can see what she's dreaming. So I don't think she'll be doing that again because that was really embarrassing. So back onto the serious stuff, Steven manages to go back to sleep and runs into Lapis Lazuli again. Basically, it seems that Lapis is losing her grip on Jasper, meaning that the fusion, as we all knew, Malachite is not going to last much longer. Now, what will happen from all this? Will Jasper kill Lapis Lazuli? I highly doubt it. I mean, Lapis can hold her own. Basically, we all knew that Malachite was gonna break apart, but the really interesting part of the episode, I think, is the fact that Steven can communicate with other gems remotely. I mean, that we know of, not even Rose Quartz could do that. So, is this a new power that Steven has, or maybe it's a one-off thing? I don't know, but I think that could really come in handy. I mean, and it just adds to the already impressive arsenal that Steven has at his disposal. So yeah, not much more to say really. I mean, predictions. I still hold that when Lapis comes back, she's gonna be this sort of martyr for the series. Probably gonna die at the hands of either Jasper or Yellow Diamond, but I'm leaning more towards Yellow Diamond. I think that would be more epic. And if she's dying for anybody, I think it would be for Steven, because that would mean like absolute redemption for Lapis's character. So hopes and predictions for the coming season. Well, first of all, I hope they finally catch Peridot, because this is getting ridiculous. I'm hoping to get some character development for Ruby and Sapphire on their own. That would be fantastic, and maybe some more explanation as to why Garnet is the way she is, because we can better understand Garnet's character if we know the parts that make her up, obviously. So season 2 part B, what's gonna happen? Well, I think we're gonna finally catch Peridot. We're gonna finally defeat Jasper, I would hope. We're gonna get some Steven and Connie action fighting side by side, and we're gonna. It's probably gonna end with a look at either like Yellow Diamond or Homeworld Gem Forces. That's my prediction for the end of season 2B. At some point during season 2B, we're gonna have to see some more about the cluster. We're gonna have to finally learn to fuse gems back together, I think, if we're hoping that the gems will have a chance against Homeworld. So yeah, overall pretty much excellent episodes. It sucks that there was like one filler episode, but I can't complain. I mean, we got to see Rose Quartz and a fusion that I never thought we'd get to see. So overall, I'm really happy, and I'm pumped for season 2B. Don't know when that comes out. I'm hoping before 2016 because I'm dying. I can't wait that long. So yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'll probably I know I promised I was gonna make weekly episodes, but I don't see that happening, especially now that I ran out of shit to talk about. But I'll probably make videos about other things, about other shows. Probably at some point I'll talk about Adventure Time. Probably I'll talk about movies that I've seen. I want to make a video about Inside Out. That movie was so good. But okay, I gotta go. Talk to you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Remember to like and subscribe. It was a pleasure making this video for you guys. I had a lot of fun. Bye.